Okay, students, this is chapter number 1, cell structure and organization. Today, in today's lesson, we will go through some plant cell organelles and their function. We'll see what cell wall looks like, what's its function. We'll also go through chloroplast, its structure and function. We will look upon sap vacuole, its function and structure. Then we will see some differences between plant and animal cell. We will also look upon some specialized cell, for instance RBC. First of all is the cell wall. We will first study its structure. It is made up of cellulose. Cellulose is made up of glucose and it is only present in plant cell. It is tough and flexible and fully permeable. Fully permeable means that it does not stop the entry or exit of any molecules. It will let molecules pass through them without any check and balance. It is very tough and flexible, and this toughness and flexibility will let you know what its function is when the cell is placed in certain solutions. Its function primarily is to support the plant cell, to maintain its shape. It also prevents the plant cell from bursting when placed in solution with higher water potential. This is also called as turgor pressure. I will explain it in the next slide. Diffusion of water and salts may occur through the cell wall. If you see the diagram, I have made a double membrane for it. Cell wall is double membraned. You will have to label either the outer one or the inner one or in the between, not next to it. The next to it will be cell membrane in plant cell. Cellulose is not digestible in humans. If you know that it requires a certain enzyme to be digested, which is called cellulase. This cellulase enzyme is not present in an human, so this cellulose is not digestible in them. Okay, to understand turgidity or turgor pressure, or the fact that the plant cell the cell wall prevents the bursting of plant cell, consider this diagram. If you see that I have shown you that water is moving into the cell, plant cell, it is happening when water is higher outside the plant cell compared to inside. This solution has a term called hypotonic solution. This will come in your next chapter, but for now just understand that if water is more around the plant cell, it will move from higher water potential to lower water potential. This is called osmosis. Osmosis is the movement of water molecules from area of higher water potential to area of lower water potential, or for your ease I can say that from the area where water is more compared to the area where water is less. So if I keep on adding more water into the plant cell by osmosis, practically it should burst sometime, because the water is filling into the plant cell. It will first swell and burst, but this does not happen because of the tough and flexible cell wall which is present in plant cell and absent in animal cell. So if you do this with the animal cell, it will burst because of the absence of cell wall, but in plant cell it does not burst because of the presence of this flexible and tough membrane which is called cell wall. Okay, next is sap vacuole. Sap vacuole is the large central single vacuole present in plant cell. Vacuole is a fluid filled space enclosed by a membrane. This membrane has a special name when it comes to vacuole. It is called tonoplast. By nature, tonoplast is same as that of cell membrane. It is partially permeable. I am repeating again. The vacuole in plants is centrally located. It is single and large, and it is filled with fluids and is bounded by a membrane. That membrane is called tonoplast. The nature of tonoplast is same as that of cell membrane, that it is partially permeable. It will allow certain molecules to come inside and will not allow other molecules. It also contains some mineral salts, sugars and amino acid. The next organelle you see in plant is chloroplast. Chloroplasts are only present in plant cell. and to be very specific, in certain plant cell called as mesophyll, palisade and guard cell. We will go into the detail of these cells in the coming lectures. They are the sites where plant manufacture food. You all know that chloroplasts contain a pigment called chlorophyll. It's a green pigment, and this green chlorophyll is responsible of absorbing or trapping sunlight for photosynthesis. Boys, this chlorophyll is made up of magnesium, or you can say that for the formation of chlorophyll, plant need to have magnesium, which is written as Mg here. It is a element which is required for formation of chlorophyll. What's the function of chlorophyll? We just discussed that it absorbs sunlight and converts chemical energy, sun energy or light energy into chemical energy in a process inside the photosynthesis. One thing more, that this chloroplast also contain all those enzymes which are required in photosynthesis. Since photosynthesis happens in chloroplast, so it should have enzymes for it too. This is the simple diagram to show you what photosynthesis is. If you see, sunlight is falling on the producers, or you can say on the plant. The reactant is carbon dioxide and water. So what do we need to have? We need to have light, carbon dioxide and water. You can add enzyme here also. What does this plant contain? It contains chlorophyll in chloroplast, and as a result what we get oxygen and carbohydrates, or you can write simple glucose here. Next is very important topic of this chapter, the difference between animal and plant cell. It's very simple. We have discussed some of the points before. Animal cell contains numerous small vacuoles, while plant cell contains a large centrally located single vacuole. Centrioles are present in animal cell but absent in plant cell. Animal cell does not contain chloroplast nor cell wall, while plant cell contains chloroplast as well as cell wall. Animal cell will also have a molecule called glycogen. We will discuss what glycogen is. For now, just remember that glycogen is a combination of many units of glucose. When many molecules of glucose combine, they make glycogen. Similarly, in plant cell, the glucose molecules also combine, but they do not form glycogen, they form starch. We will discuss then what's the difference between these two when they are made up of glucose. Both of them are made up of glucose, but their structure is different. Here it is glycogen in animal cell and starch is present in plant cell. Okay, these are some specialized cells now we have to discuss. First one is RBC or red blood cell. You might be knowing their structure before, but I'm repeating again here. They are circular. They are biconcave in shape, and being biconcave in shape facilitate them to have more surface area. More surface area means that they can have more oxygen to be transported. Oxygen is transported by RBCs because they have a protein called hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is actually the carrier of oxygen, and this is present on the surface of RBCs. I'm repeating again, RBCs are some kind of cells in your blood. These cells have a protein or red pigment called hemoglobin, and sometimes written as capital H and small b. This hemoglobin attaches with itself the molecules of oxygen and transport them from lungs to all parts of the body. Hemoglobin requires iron for its formation. So you might be knowing a simple observation that sometimes people lack iron in their diet and they go deficient of hemoglobin, leading to a disease called anemia. If you have ever heard that if someone is deficient of hemoglobin, he might be lacking iron in his diet, because iron is required for formation of hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is required for the transportation of oxygen from lungs to all body parts. Now here I am showing you the transfer of oxygen. This is your lungs. Lungs are taking in fresh air into them. Oxygen would be carried by RBCs. These RBC have a carrier here, which is hemoglobin, which carries oxygen with it, and then it transfers it to all body cells wherever oxygen is required. This is the view of RBC. This is very important to know. It often comes in your MCQs and in your theory paper about the structure and the and the benefit that it gets from the structure. RBCs, when viewed from the top, are thicker from the edges and thinner from the center because of lack of nucleus. RBCs do not have nucleus. Once the RBC is matured, the nucleus disappears and it becomes thinner from the center. When it becomes thinner from the center, it becomes easy for oxygen to get in and carbon dioxide to go out. On the other hand, if you see it from the side, if you can see the shape, it is biconcave. Being biconcave provided sufficient surface area to volume ratio so that more oxygen can be transported through the hemoglobin to all body parts. This point is very important, that the adaptation of this structure, being biconcave, being thinner at the center and having no nucleus, facilitate the RBCs to transport oxygen more efficiently, to carry more oxygen, and it should be transported efficiently to all body parts.